Howdy ho, y'all, it's JoJo Ma. With Nintendo announcing the release of Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, coming to Switch summer 2023, we're all thinking the same thing. What, if any, changes were made to the marriage candidates? From the few scenes we were given in the preliminary trailer, it appears there were already some major changes made to some of the marriageable characters. The trailer also revealed a new marriage candidate who was recently officially announced. Who is this mystery man, you ask? Tune in to find out. As we go through these, keep in mind that this is a Japanese website that has been translated into English by Google, and it does a fantastic job. Really. Just perfect. I've been playing the Harvest Moon game since I was very young, so it means a lot to me that I'm able to show you the updated characters to one of my favorite games in the series. Seriously, this is one of the best ones, in my opinion. There are some name changes here and there, which is interesting, but overall there aren't a lot of huge changes to most of the marriage candidates that you already know and love. As of now, there are 8 marriageable characters. Unlike the games of the past, the player has the option to marry characters of any gender. Let's look at what has been released on each so far. We'll start with the bachelorettes. Celia, or Cecilia now, I guess, works on Vesta's farm. She is described as gentle, friendly, and loves nature. Celia truly is and has always been true to that description of her character. Even with the less than amazing graphics, you could tell she was really sweet. Celia's character design is much the same as it was in the original game. This is Celia's artwork, and this is her in-game avatar. I think she is one of the best designed characters I've seen so far. Very happy with it. She was a very popular bachelorette, and I think she will still be a reliable choice as a loving partner. Lumina is a shy girl who is often spotted on the piano at her grandmother Romana's manor. Her character design is much the same from the first game. This is her artwork, and this is her in-game avatar from the first chapter. Lumina is an interesting candidate, and anyone who's played the original versions of this game will understand why. Lumina was originally a teenage villager who lived with her grandmother. In the second year of the game, she grows up and her character design changes to suit a more mature version of her character. In the GameCube version, Lumina is not a marriage candidate. In the special edition released on the PlayStation 2, Lumina is suddenly an eligible bachelorette. However, her Chapter 1 character is still a teenager, so when you court her, she is still quite young. She was the only candidate in which the player could have a daughter or a son with, and even had a special outfit if you married her and had a female child. Even now in the remake, she is the only candidate with 2 distinct character designs as she grows into a young woman. Muffy is one of the characters with a name change, which is going to take a while to get used to. Her new name is Molly, but I honestly prefer Muffy, so I'll probably still call her Muffy. Hashtag Team Muffy, am I right? She is a sweet girl who works at the bar with her father Griffin. She has always seemed a little lost and as if she is seeking more than a simple valley girl life. I think the quote on the left side of her character bio speaks to that as well. She is the girly girl candidate, and although her name changed, the concept of her character design is still very similar to the original, sporting her usual red dress, cardigan, headband, and high heels. There are some minor changes that freshen her look up, and I would definitely place her in the facelift or upgrade category of the remake designs. Oh please, I would never say anything bad about the old Muffy with her alien-like facial structure. Come on now. Hashtag Team Muffy. The remaster has included a very cool feature to this game in character creation in that the player has 3 gender options: female, male, and non-binary. This shift to identity inclusivity also seems reflected in the remake of the marriage candidate, Nami. Nami was a bachelorette in the original games, but word on the street is they are now non-binary. This has not been confirmed, but there are clues to a change. Notably, the Japanese to English translation uses masculine pronouns, which could just be a translation error, but it seems indicative of Nami not identifying as female, right? Look, I'm not going to pretend to know anything about Japanese grammar, but I'm going to guess it probably has something to do with grammar rules, and it appears to indicate that Nami is a non-binary marriage candidate. Or is it just that Nami is a huge tomboy and even the language is trying to hint to that? Perhaps it's not something that will ever be discussed, but I do hope we get some confirmation since there's a new gender identity option for the player, and that has caused some debate over whether Nami has a new identity. Nami was always the cool tomboy girl who was a bit elusive and not very social. Thankfully, the cool persona is not wasted on the remastered version. There are a couple changes in Nami's hair and clothing. The hairstyle is a bit shaggier, and I'm digging it, even though I really like the original. The game designers opted for a white tee instead of the orange shirt, with the plaid sleeveless shirt tying that plaid flannel around the waist, trading white shorts for khaki-colored pants, and even booting the Converse for a sleeker style. I've gotta admit, I'm gonna miss the Converse. Luckily for us, Nami is still the cool, mysterious candidate with a quieter personality that we all can't stay away from. Back in the day, we had to wait on a whole separate game just to be a girl, and this opened up the option to marry Gustafa, Marlin, and Rock. The original characters weren't designed to be good-looking marriage candidates, but we eventually learned to accept them as they were. This round, there have been more than a few changes to the bachelors we courted in Another Wonderful Life, and there's even a new addition to the group. Let's review. Gustafa is described as a free-spirited minstrel who lives in a mobile house, which isn't exactly how I would have described a yurt. It sounds like he lives in Cody's old metal camper. Gustafa has changed quite a bit from his original character design. They toned him down from the sort of crazy-looking old hippie in the yurt on the hill to almost a more modernized hippie aesthetic. The clothes, however, are almost exactly the same. The body-to-head proportions make a big difference. They changed his hat, which is a big no for me. It almost takes away from Gustafa's essence and weirdness. At least they kept the flower from the original hat, I guess. They also did away with Gustafa's chin strap. I suppose facial hair can age a character, and the designers wanted to freshen the bachelors up. So, it's fine, I guess. From the character description, Gustafa is still his nature-loving, easygoing self. True to the original Gustafa, he is carrying around an instrument on his back. He is also described as a minstrel, which is basically a person who plays instruments to accompany a song or poem. Yes, I had to look it up. There has been some indications that there will be more festivals and events in the remaster, and from this image, I'm going to guess that it's a winter solstice music event, or something involving nature if old Gus is the frontman for it, featuring ye old yurt. I'm unsure of my opinion on which character design I like best. Obviously, the new design is an upgrade as far as young, dateable bachelor, but his original design is a tried and true classic John Lennon reincarnate. I think each has their time, and I'm excited to see how new Gustafa holds up. Marlin. Or in this case, Matthew. Or Mash. Whatever you want to call him, he's definitely got the worst character bio the website has to offer. Vesta's younger brother who works on the farm. At best, he's a hardliner. At worst, he's a pervert. But he can't stand up to his older sister, Vesta. Like, what? You just called him a pervert and a bitch in one sentence. He seems to be very shy. Besides his obvious personality flaws, Marlin's face is a major upgrade from the original character design, and I'm not trying to be mean, he was just definitely my last pick from Another Wonderful Life. Not only was he ugly, but he came across as very jealous and controlling when it came to Celia, which is a major turnoff. As far as his design goes, his hair and face are obviously quite different from before, but there are still some traits that make the character feel the same. I mean, he's got the arched eyebrows, pretty blue eyes, and that stern look going for him. They kept the clothing pretty similar and just flipped the colors, which I think was a good move. Big changes were made, but it's still Marlin. So I'm really hoping, despite the unsavory way in which he was just described in his bio, that Matthew's personality will make a 180 like his looks did. From this screenshot, it appears he's at least nice and wants to be helpful. I have high hopes for Marlin 2.0. Oh, Rock, you haven't changed much, have you? Rock is the son of Tim and Ruby, the owners of the Inner Inn. Rock's design really hasn't changed very much, but I guess that's because he already fit the young, pretty boy aesthetic the Story of Seasons team was going for this round. His clothes are a little better fitting, if you ask me. The flare pants weren't a good look for him, and from my perspective, he looked very disco. Rock is kind of a spoiled kid who doesn't have to work for anything he has and lives life in a very laid-back way. In this way, he is kind of lazy and childish. His naivety and fun-going energy is refreshing in some ways, but it also makes him seem very immature. I think his hair looks better in the remaster, and I'm overall pleased with the outfit changes. Finally, the announcement you've been waiting for. The Story of Seasons team announced a new marriage candidate whose name on the Japanese site is Gordy. All signs point to this being a remastered, pretty boyified version of Cody, the artist from the original games. And to be clear, he's an artist who uses metal and creates interesting sculptures by hand. There still isn't much information on him besides what's in his bio, and of course what we know from the original games. But from what I'm reading, it seems he's just as I'd expect. Broody and quiet. His looks are very different from the original, but his clothing is pretty much spot on the same. They kept the blonde hair, which is cool, but I kind of wish they would have made him a little more artsy and weird, and less like he's about to go to the gym at Wally's and take a bunch of mirror selfies and workout clothes. I'm really glad that the team added a new candidate, and this has to be addressed. A new candidate who isn't white. There, said it. More of that in future games, please. Of course, Cody was already a valued character in the game, and he isn't brand new, but he looks so wildly different that it's hard not to feel like he's a new character. Before I say more, I just want to say that I'm not here to just complain or bring anyone down. I like the way everyone looks. I'm very pleased with how the team did. I just want to say I think it was a cool move to bring Cody into the marriageable candidate pool, but the people who wanted that to happen liked Cody the way he was. A lot of folks have already voiced that they loved A Wonderful Life because of the odd-looking characters and the personalities to match. So in some ways, watering Cody down is a little disappointing. But overall, I'm pleased with his new character design, and everyone else's for that matter. I can't wait to play the game when it's released, and until then, I will continue to discuss updates and expectations for the game with you guys. Please, 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 go ahead and subscribe, leave your comments for the video, and talk about what you're really excited about, what you like, what you don't like. I'm really eager to hear from you guys. This is a big deal for this community, and I'm a part of a bunch of different forums, and I love reading everyone else's thoughts on it, so please go ahead and comment. And share with your friends, please. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!